Hi everyone, and welcome back to my studio. This video is going to be a little bit different. I was on Facebook the other day, and in one of my stamp groups the question was asked, how long does it take to prepare a card? And I really got to thinking about that, which led me to this card, the next card that I want to demonstrate for you. But there's one slight problem. What happens if you don't have all the pieces? Well, I just kind of want to show you today on how a card evolves, what you can do, and the biggest piece of advice I can give you is to experiment, 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 because if you don't experiment, then you're not going to run across anything. The second rule I would like to give you is always go for your scraps first, okay? So any cut pieces that you have, or if you don't have a piece big enough for the card, you know, you can always turn it one direction or another to make things happen. That's just kind of how a card evolves. It was a really good question. It really got me thinking. So today, this video might be longer than the others, but I want to show you what happens when you run into problems and things like that. Now, I need to come across very quickly that not all my cards are perfect, okay? It seems like the cards I post on the videos look gorgeous and dazzling and great, and that's wonderful. But a lot of them start, you know, kind of kooky or silly. But if I didn't do this card, or I made the mistake of a smear, or colored in the berries, which I really don't like, or even my bow looks a little weird, you know, that's why it evolved into this one. So it's a learning process. It really is a learning process. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay. Now, one of the things I have that I'm working with is I'm working with the Very Vanilla cardstock, Old Olive, and Real Red. But my slight problem is this is all the Real Red I have right now is scraps. And when I say go to your scraps first, you'll be amazed what you find. I don't keep all the scraps, especially little slender pieces, but I try and keep most of them because you just don't know. So I'm going to start from the beginning of my card. I think that would be the easiest to do. Okay. First of all, I am not using a holiday cardstock. I am using Wood Textures Designer Series paper. It is just all wood. It's perfect for birthday cards, masculine cards, that sort of thing. But I did choose a really pretty white card. I'm going to put it on the back of this so you can see it. A white, rustic, I think that's the word, look for the card. You just have to get out your Designer Series paper and start flipping through it and seeing what works best with what you have. So what I would like to do, and the first thing I'm going to do, is go ahead and stamp my card, or stamp the front, okay? So the colors I'm going with are Christmas colors, the Old Olive and Real Red. So that's the inks I'm going to work with. So we know that all coordinates, okay? The stamp set I'm actually using two of them. The first one is Father Christmas, and I had this set in the last video, I believe. It's this one. And the second set is is actually new this year, and it's the Carols of Christmas. And we're going to be using the Decks of Hulls. So even though you may have 1 or 10 million stamp sets, you can always mix and match. And what I do to keep my stamps together is put all your Christmas together, put all your Halloween together. Then you can see a variety of what you have, and you don't have to stick with one stamp set. You can stick with 7 stamp sets, 1 out of every 7. So, you know, that's an idea too. But the first thing I'm going to do is, let's go ahead and go for the Real Red. And no, I'm not. That's the other thing. Is I'm going to start with something. It's like, no, I better rethink that and start with something else. I'm going to start with the holly branch. Now, I am not coloring the hollies red. I think either my technique or just the color offsets it. I don't really like it. I'm going to just stamp randomly around my grid paper, and notice I just stamped off of it. You know, and that's the other thing, you don't have to have the full stamp on your paper. You can also stamp off of it. Kind of give it a, I don't know if that looks right or not, but something like that, maybe. I think it needs one more. It probably might be overkill. That's the other thing. I keep saying that. That's the other thing. You got to experiment. If you don't experiment, then you really, really don't know. Okay? So that's that. Now I'm going to take my deck of Halls, and on this last card where I smeared at, I found out why. There was actually something, either a fine hair or something actually on the stamp set. So when you're opening your stamp sets and really looking through them, you know, make sure your stamp pads are clear. They might be sitting on your desk and have nothing on them, but sometimes they attract random, maybe pieces of dust or something. Excuse me, I'm talking, my mouth is getting dry. But, you know, just kind of keep an eye on your stamp and your stamps. Make sure your stamps are clear as well. So I'm gonna toss that over there. But I'm gonna ink up the, now I flipped it over. Why did I flip it over? It might be me, with large stamps like this one, I want my ink really good and on, and I feel comfortable flipping it over and then stamping it from this side. I don't know why. I'm sure it works very well the other way, but that's just me. So I'm going to grab my stamp pad because it's what I'm using now for my images. And put that down. Okay, flip that over. Put my image down. Deck the Halls. There we go. Okay. All right. Close up your stamp pads. Okay. Now, I have my piece of Old Olive, which I got out of my files. I have a, hanging file crate, and that's where all my scraps are at. But I'm going to go ahead and put this down. Like that. Okay. Now, before I attach it to the red, I'm going to go ahead and wrap my linen thread around it. Like so. Now I'm going to tie the knot in back. I hope I'm in the camera. And the other thing I'm not going to do is put glue dots down, because I want this to be able to move a little bit in case it's just off center or something. See how it's down a little bit? And then you can move it wherever you so desire, like so. Okay. We got this really pretty solid red ribbon. I love this. This is one of the ribbons that work best for me. I struggle with tying knots, but this ribbon, it just makes it easy. I don't know what it is, but then you can make it however you want, like so. Okay, clip the ends. I'm going to leave my ends a little bit long, like that. Okay, stop messing with the ribbon, Diane. Okay, then I will attach that with a glue dot. Like this. Flip it over. I just put it right above, towards the top. like that. Okay, let this, and then you can cut your tails like that. Oh, a little short. I didn't want it that short. There we go. Okay, it still doesn't look right, but alrighty. You can always tug a little bit. Okay, this bow is literally beating me up. But anyway, I'm going to leave it. For time's sake, I'm going to leave it. Okay, problem number 1. I don't have real red cardstock. I am out of the full sheets. So, I should have did this in the beginning, and that's turned to my scraps. So, I'm going to open up my scrap folder and just rummage through it. And I do have a piece that's smaller. So what can I do with this to make it look like I have edges? Well, the first thing you can do is cut it in half. So I think this piece is about, okay, it is 3 7/8. So let's go with 1.5 inches. It actually let's go 1 7/8. Okay. Okay, so guess what? I have 2 pieces. Now, let's kind of play with this a little bit, okay? I'm going to get out my base, which is going to be very vanilla. Like so. And I'm going to go ahead and it's pre-scored. Get that folded down. And this is where I really kind of experiment. First of all, I lay my pieces out about where they're going to lay. And then, kind of like that, it's like, oh, I really do like that. So I know I would need the edges of the rail red cardstock to the edges of the card to make things lay right. Okay, so I'm going to run a strip of snail just down one side. All right, and by eyeballing it, or if you're particular, go ahead and measure to try and get as centered as you can. And then we're going to do this with the other piece. And I put 2, but I'm going to flip my card upside down because I know I want it at the end. Now this is kind of the hard part because you want it to be as close at the top as you can be. I'm going to get that on there. Okay. Eyeball it, measure it, you know, so you know you're in the center. Then I'm going to take this piece, flip it upside down, whoops, run snail, and center it so it's just kind of overlapping the card, like that. Now, we have 2 complete cards. They're similar in the design, but they're different because of the paper. So, you know, you can do, there's more branches on this one too. You can do whatever. The biggest thing is just to get started. Just pull out 2-3 pieces of paper and challenge yourself. Look on my videos for designs. You can look on Pinterest. Split Coast Stampers is a good site to just get some ideas and some layouts on how to do something like this. Now, I did something today I've never thought about doing until today, and that is actually decorating the envelope. So I have the envelopes here, and all I'm going to do, and you can be as simple or as elaborate as you want. Just the 2 main things on an envelope is make sure you don't stamp where your name's going to go or to who you're sending it to. But you can definitely stamp, put Holly at on that side, flip it over on that side, maybe on that side. And then if you want, you can go one here, turn your stamp over so it's flipped over on the outside, and do one up here. Like that. That's all you have to do. You do not have to be expert at it. Then write your to and from, and then tie it in with your cards. And I'll even include the one I messed up on. You don't learn until you try. That's the biggest reason. If I look back at, I started with scrapbook pages, and I looked back and thought, oh my goodness, those are so awful. And I thought about redoing, but if I didn't do those scrapbook pages, I wouldn't be doing this now. So all you gotta do is start. Just start in. And if you need some help, let me know. If you need some products, let me know. We'll get together and sit down and have a phone call, and we can really get you started on your way to stamping. I hope this video helps. I hope you learned some things. Otherwise, have a great weekend. I don't know if I'll be doing any videos next week because it's Thanksgiving. If I don't, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. And if I do, I will see you next week. So talk to you later. Bye.